Is it easier to believe in a dead prophet? So the church recently condemned the violence in Washington, D.C., regardless of whether they believed it happened or not. Why? Because this isn't their niche, and it wasn't Christ's. Welcome to the last dispensation. You're living in it. We urge all members, this is actually what it said. We urge all people to remember the precious and fragile nature of freedom and peace. As citizens of the United States look ahead to the inauguration of a new president, we urge our members to honor democratic institutions and processes and to obey, honor, and sustain the law. Now, I'm going to read two or three remarks, about three remarks of how people responded to this condemnation by the first presidency. One person remarked, I feel the same. I am often critical of the vague, empty corporate sequence statements, but I feel that this one is sufficiently specific. Now, remember, I don't necessarily agree or disagree with some of the comments. Okay, here's another one. I think as well, it's not up to the church to comment or decide who did or who should have won the election, nor are they in a place to comment on the legitimacy of the election. So yeah, a very good statement. Another person said, I heard a very similar message during the conference in October, urging members who are disappointed to not participate in violence. They knew what was coming. The Zealots wanted Christ to fight the government. The Zealots were a party among the Jews, so-called from their zeal for the law, who were determined to resist Roman or any foreign authority in Palestine. Jesus answered, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews? But now is my kingdom not from hence. One of the apostles was even a zealot. Jesus himself condemned the Sadducees and tutored the publicans. We are facing today an army that cannot be seen. It hides in the shadows. It prowls like a wolf in sheep's clothing. It is Lucifer's kingdom. They call him the light bearer, the illuminated one, and they are much bigger and infested than we can imagine. We were warned by prophets and apostles for decades that this entity would devour whatever and whoever is in its path. So when our brethren today are sending another message that tends to stay neutral and keep the peace, I think of the things we need to do in order to meet our Savior. Our temples aren't even open completely yet to do more temple work. We must penetrate more continents, visit more climes, sweep every country, and sound in every ear. Is it time now to wrest the scriptures and embrace the sword? Or wrest the sword and embrace the scriptures? Some might say that we can do both. Yes, we can. We can rally around the standard of liberty and preach the gospel at the same time. But first, we must find the enemy and then flush them out. Where do they hide? How many are there and who are they? Are we not infested? No, we knew someday that there would be but two churches, the church of the devil and the church of God. We knew that someday this beast would be so big, too big, that the Savior would have to come and destroy it himself. We are now preparing to meet our Savior. We must follow a prophet. He knows the way. I'm as big a fan of Ezra Taft Benson as any other. And I do not subscribe to the ideas that he was just a zealot. He himself said there was no conspiracy theory in the Book of Mormon, that it was conspiracy fact. But for some reason that I am now beginning to understand, that is not the message our Father in heaven is giving his prophet. And it can only be for a wise purpose. According to Victor L. Ludlow, the Zealots were a group of Jewish nationalists who strongly opposed Roman rule. The Zealot movement stemmed from the action of Judah, the Galilean, who believed theocracy should be the law of the land, and Jews should not pay tribute to Rome nor acknowledge the emperor as their master. Judah was apparently killed in the suppression of this revolt. His followers took to the deserts, where they maintained a guerrilla resistance against the Romans. One of Christ's apostles, Simon, was a zealot. You can read this in Luke chapter 6, verse 15, indicating that zealot principles were not inconsistent with the church. Christ was later associated with zealot activities at his Roman trial, when his fate was linked with that of Barabbas, who had led a recent insurrection against the Romans. Christ was crucified between two Listai. Since Listai was the official Greek designation for zealots, the Romans probably viewed Jesus as a zealot leader. Do you get where I'm going with this? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? And are you getting what I'm spitting? The Zealots increased their activities in the years following Christ's death, seizing the temple in 66 AD. The Romans forcibly crushed this revolt and destroyed Jerusalem and the temple. In 70 AD, shortly after this, the Zealots made their last and fateful stand against Roman rule as they defended their garrison at Masada, a desert plateau near the Dead Sea, holding off the Roman army for over a year. So in the end, the gospel was spread for a season, and the Zealots did not achieve their goal. And that's it.
The views and opinions shared by the Last Dispensation and/or any guests should not be construed as authoritative views from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. If you would like to learn more about the LDS Church, please go online to comeuntoChrist.org. The Book of Mormon is also available wherever you get your apps.